Many builders come to us, to the professional builder, overwhelmed, burnt out. What's the mindset shift that happens for people to make a change? I can't charge for quotes. I'll lose projects. It's hard to hire good guys. The clients only want to deal with me. You can't charge that much for this project. It's the stories that you tell yourself keep you chained in a business that you hate.
You guys get taught how to build a killer house, but no one ever teaches them the systems they need to put in place to step back.
What do you think is the mindset that sets the winners apart from the people who don't succeed? All right, welcome to the Builders Ladder podcast. Today, we have one of our growth advisors, Mr. Brynn Wilson, with us. How you going, my man?
Yeah, I'm going good. Thanks, Marti. Appreciate you having me on.
Pleasure to have you here as always. And your role as a growth advisor, you talk to our members at the beginning. We've got 5 growth advisors on the team, and you assess their current operations, go through their systems, look at where the holes are and the gaps, and then analyze their profit and loss to see what changes and improvements can be made with the right strategies, and then putting them into place. And I guess looking at hundreds of P&Ls every year, you've seen under the hood of a lot of businesses. So I really want to get into the head of the mindset of a lot of building company owners that do come to us for help and figure out what are the issues that you're seeing and what's the mindset. So let's start a little bit about that. If you could share a little bit about what your role involves and what a typical week looks like.
Yeah, awesome. I think you summed it up pretty well, Marti. Typically, my role looks like jumping on with potential members, having a look at their P&Ls, analysing the business, hearing the struggles, some of the wins that they're having, and then prescribing the right solutions, building out a game plan to get them to their goals.
So what are the typical issues that most building company owners are coming to us with?
I think you could pretty easily sum it up into 3 big things. One of them would definitely be time. Guys are wearing a lot of hats, spending a lot of time in the business trying to do everything themselves. I think another one would be money. They're not making the profits.
Yep.
And I think the last one's probably the team. They either don't have enough of a team or they don't have the right systems for the team.
Yeah, 100%. And those are the 3 most common ones in business: time, team, and money. So if we dig into time, what is time typically a function of? Like why are most building company owners run off their feet? And quite often it seems like they're building themselves a prison or a busy job with overheads rather than a business that has systems and works to give you true wealth, both more money and more time. So to rephrase that question again, what do you think the time, where does that lack of time come from? What causes it?
I think from what I've heard from a lot of guys is the lack of time comes from being used to doing everything themselves. They go from the tools to doing the admin to doing all of the quoting, and they get so used to doing absolutely everything, it just becomes the new normal.
100%. And it's funny that you say that, because what got you here won't get you there. So quite often it's like the crayfish that you put in a pot and it gets used to the water being hotter and hotter. And it's the self-limiting beliefs or the stories that you tell yourself, like, I can't charge for quotes. I'll lose projects. It's hard to hire good guys. The clients only want to deal with me. This is a 10% town. You can't charge that much for this project. I'll lose the project, and I need to keep my guys busy, and I need to win the job at any work. But that will keep you trapped and keep you chained in a prison or a business that you hate.
100%. And guys just get so stuck in day to day, and no one ever teaches you how to run a business. These guys get taught how to build a killer house, but no one ever teaches them the systems they need to put in place to step back. So they just keep doing what they know.
100%. And so first, I think there's some key things that help. So if we walk through the process, what do you currently do how do you dig into what are the areas that aren't working? Like what aspects do you specifically look at with building company owners to see where are the holes that we need to plug?
So there's 3 big areas that we like to dive into, and obviously they get a bit more in detail as you go through, but the first one, and typically the biggest one with the way the industry's looked recently, is sales and marketing. The work guys
absolutely.
are getting through, if it's the quality or they're not converting or it's not the right kind of leads or it's not the volume that they need.
Yep.
Another one's their numbers and pricing, not charging to a target margin. They're not making the net profit. They're not paying themselves a salary. They feel like they're running themselves into the ground. And then the last one would be the team and systems. They might have a team, but they don't have any systems to delegate leadership, and the team's running the day-to-day, but the owner's in the day-to-day helping them run it.
Dude, you bang on with all three of those. So if we dig into, I guess, the first one, sales and marketing. So if you don't have regular marketing, then you're going to be relying on hope marketing, or as a lot of people refer to it, word of mouth. And it's like, is this a business or is this a hobby? And if it's a business, then I don't know many businesses that don't have marketing in place, because otherwise you're relying on luck and hope that someone gives you a referral. Referrals are great, don't get me wrong, but they should be the cherry on top of the cake rather than the whole cake itself. Cake.
like some cake.
Exactly. So I think that's critical there. And what are some of the systems that you see that work well for getting those leads in if builders are going through a dry patch at the moment?
That's a really good question. When it comes to marketing with what we do, a lot of guys we hear go out and they outsource it to marketing agencies and they don't really get results. And the reason for that is agencies are focused on traffic, which is how many people actually see your piece of ad. But in the building industry, we're not focused on traffic. We're focused on conversion. We don't care if 50,000 people see it. We're not selling a TikTok lamp. What we're selling is a dream. So we care that 5 people see it, 4 of them are qualified, 3 of them opt in, 2 of them go through your sales process, and you guys win 1 deal.
100%. Like, and that's the biggest thing. You need both traffic and conversion. And you should really start with the conversion stuff, because any lead that's coming to you needs to know 4 key things. Who are you? Who's your company? Can I trust you? And how specifically can you help me? So if you've got a website that's like a 1980s brochure or it's a static website, it really needs to sell your dream. It needs to answer those 4 concerns that people have before buying from you. And then it needs to address the 5 key problems or challenges that people have. So with any project, that is timeline, will it be done on time? Budget, quality, communication, and trustworthiness. So it's critical that your website, your email marketing addresses those. And through video testimonials, how we work with you video, so pulling back the scenes, behind the curtains, here's what's going to happen on site. We're not just coming out for a chat. We're actually going to go through your scope of works. We're going to look at your project. We're going to match up your minuscule budget, and we're going to figure out how we can make the budget match your scope of works. We're going to talk through project management. We're going to discuss any variations and change orders, how they'll get signed off, how we'll proceed weekly, who's going to be in your home. And that is really the key thing, is pulling back the curtain, because this is people's biggest investment of their life. So they have a lot of concern, and there's a lot of horror stories out there. All right. So what about numbers and pricing? And numbers can be quite scary for a lot of building company owners. And I think it's one of the key areas that we help with, because business is a numbers game. So talk us through, what are some of the key things that you work on with building company owners at the beginning regarding numbers and pricing?
I think one of the first things is actually just understanding their numbers. A lot of guys don't actually have a P&L, or they have a P&L, but the cost of goods isn't accounted for, the line items aren't accounted for, they're running things through the business, and it's not an accurate representation of what's going on. And there's a difference between accounting profit, which you see in the P&L, and then actual profit. And a lot of guys run off accounting profit, think they're doing well, and then they're left wondering what's happened at the end of the year when they've got 50 grand when it says they have 190.
Exactly. Yep. And so are they getting a work in progress report every month? Is their work in progress accurate? Are they making sure that all variations are accounted for, signed off, and invoiced, and ideally weekly, so that you improve your cash flow? Are you making sure that you have a P&L for each project, and you run that like a small business itself, so each project is hitting its minimal profit margin of at least 20%? Those are some of the critical key things. And then obviously breaking each project down, making sure that your labor is within 5% of your forecast, breaking that bid down by stage, and then managing that through the project. So in your toolbox meetings with the guys, hey, the framing, we allocated 100 hours. We're halfway through the project, but we're sitting at 65 hours. What do we got to do to pull back 15 hours, guys? Otherwise, no one's getting their bonus. And then lastly, like systems. So what about team and systems, both on-site and in the office? What are some challenges that you see there and some solutions?
Systems is a really broad word. We get a lot of people coming to us saying, I need systems. And we're saying, what sort of system?
What's it going to do for you?
Exactly. And systems are so important because at the end of the day, you can grow your business to a point, but you're not going to take your business from 1 to 10 mil. You only have so many hours in the day and you can only focus on the high level tasks as the owner. And the systems which you put in the business are either meant to keep you focused on the higher level tasks and delegate those lower level tasks to the team, making sure there's a way to measure them, set expectations and give feedback on it to keep the team accountable.
Exactly. And how do you figure out what you should delegate?
So it's actually really simple.
Really? Perfect. Tell me more.
So one of the first things we like to do is we work out your PBR. We call it your professional builder's rate. Obviously you created it, Marti. You know what we're talking about here. And it's simply just guys' hourly rate. So we take their salary plus the profit from the business. We divide that by the number of hours you're working each week. And then we divide that by the number of weeks you're working in the year. Sometimes we take off tax. Sometimes we don't. Depends what you want to do. Regardless though, it's going to spit out a number. Could be 46. Lowest I've ever seen was $8 an hour.
Jesus. And it's like it's a great exercise to do because quite often we find guys when they first come to us might be paying their team more, their foreman, their project manager, or some guys I've seen, it's like McDonald's would be a better option. Like, is it legal to pay someone this little for the amount of hours that you're doing? So it's a great exercise to do, and don't be afraid of it. It's like jumping on the scales if you're out of shape. It's like all progress starts with the truth, having a look in the mirror, and then deciding, shit, use that fuel as motivation to go, I never want to feel like this again. I never want to be in this situation. I'm going to do whatever it takes to change this and improve it.
Exactly. And taking the first step sets you apart from 95% of the competition. Doesn't matter how smart you are or how much you know, it's the action takers that are the ones we'll hear about.
100%. To know and not to do is to not know at all. What do you see in terms of biggest shocking stories or holy shit, dude, how long's it been like that? Or what are the biggest out there moments that you've seen over the last couple of years?
One of them would be two guys, Tim and Dave, came to us, some Aussie members, and they were ready to pack it all in. Projects were going over time and over budget. They were paying themselves about 85 grand a year. Business was doing about 3 mil. Crux of it all though was they were 400 grand in debt.
Yep.
Projects were going over time. Labor was blowing way over. They weren't tracking the variations. No work in progress. Everything was falling apart and they felt like they were in a burning house, but they'd built this whole thing and they didn't want to give up on it. They just had nowhere else to turn.
Yep.
And with them, one of the biggest oh shit moments for them was actually understanding their numbers, starting to track things and starting to put those systems in place to jump on top of issues before they started.
Yeah, 100%. And I'll finish the story. So over the next 18 months, they put in the work, dialed in their project management so that they didn't have any leaks coming out in terms of cost overruns, ramped up their marketing, but only once they had dialed in their financials and their numbers and their project management on site. Like, there's no point pouring water into a leaky bucket. And I'm stoked to hear in their interview, they tripled the business to over 9 mil. They repaid all their debt. They're paying themselves both a great market salary of at least 150K. They bought the commercial building that they were in. And I think the best thing is they bought back their sanity with confidence, clarity, and have started building a great business that there's nothing worse than grinding for 20 to 30 years, building a business that you don't like and, you know, like telling yourself these self-limiting stories or beliefs that keep you trapped.
And for a lot of guys, it's a bandwidth thing. You get so used to doing it this way for so long, like you said earlier, being the crayfish in the pot. You get so used to it and it is hard to make a change. It's doing something different that you're so used to doing. And a lot of guys are at the point where the pain to change can almost seem like too much without having everything set in stone in front of you, so they just don't change.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think is the mindset that sets the the winners, apart from the people who don't succeed. So if you have a look at the people who come onto the program, there's at least 75, 80% of them smash it out of the park. And then there's 20% of people who either don't take action or, even regress or go backwards. And despite everything that we have from 21 people in the coaching staff that help with one-on-one coaching, performance coaching, specialty coaches who own their own businesses, accountability coaches holding them accountable. What do you think that separates the winners from the also-rans or the people who don't win?
It's definitely mindset. You can have all the skills, all the resources in the world, but unless you're willing to make a change and take action, nothing's going to change. So the first one of that would be being coachable.
Yep.
You don't know everything. You may have been running for 25 years one way, but there's a reason that you're here and you're looking into this stuff because you're obviously unhappy with how it's done. And now you're sitting in front of someone who has had success. They have the resources. They have the proven track record. And if you're not willing to make that change and take on that advice and take the side of, hey, I don't know everything. These guys know more than me, and take a step down on your ladder of ego.
Yeah, I think that's a massive one. I think ego stops a lot of people from building the business that they know is possible because you have to start over again. You have to be a beginner and open and coachable to learning a new way of doing something. So being coachable is the number one thing to being able to go to the next level. And the fortunate thing is over the last 20 years, we've seen inside 3,000 building companies throughout America, Canada, the UK, Australia, and New Zealand. So we get best practice of what's working for everyone in every market with sales, marketing systems, on-site office, financials, and pricing and leadership. And we then interview our members, help you with one-on-one coaching and group coaching, and actually help put that into play. So, yeah, if you're not coachable, you can't take that advice and you think your way is the best way, then you will stay at that level.
And I think to piggyback off that, another one's accountability, right? The coaches are great. We have all the accountability in the world. But it's like the old saying, you're always going to be your biggest critic. You also need to be your biggest cheerleader. You're the one going to bed with all the problems. You're the one waking up in the morning with all the stress. You're going to have to want the change for yourself and flip that switch inside you. And we're do it with you, right? We're here to do it with you. It goes fast or as slow as you want to go. We're not here to do it for you. You have to make the change yourself, and you have to be accountable to the change that you've said you're going to make.
Absolutely. And a great parable is like going to the gym, or great simile is like going to the gym. Pow, look at those guns. So you can get a plan, you can get a personal trainer, you can get a nutrition plan, but ultimately you have to go up, get in the car, drive to the gym, work out, and then track your food, track your macros, and make sure you're in a calorie deficit in order to get in better shape. And if you don't do that, and if you're not being accountable to yourself and your actions are out of alignment with your goals, then you can just kid yourself and stay trapped in the same situation that you currently are, or the same El Chavo physique.
Yeah, it's the mental masturbation of getting all of the resources and saying, I'm going to take action tomorrow. I think a great example for the time of year is New Year's resolutions. You say, in the new year, I'm going to change. No, you're not. If you're not willing to make the change now, there's no difference between today and 5 days from now. It's just the time of year. The days are still the same.
There'll be Christmas pudding.
Okay. But yeah, if you're not willing to make the change today, who's to say you're willing to make the change tomorrow?
Absolutely. And I think the last one is your cash flow follows your calendar. So what does your perfect week look like? Have you set up a system during your week where you're working on the 80-20 and you're putting it in at least 5 hours a week or an hour a day to work on the systems that are going to build the business? Because you don't build the business. You hire and train your people. The people follow the systems, and the systems build the business, and the business gives you back both more time and more money.
Builder's flywheel.
Exactly.
And I think that relates to, it reminds me of Matt Fenn, who was our member who implemented the most systems. He got member of the quarter. It was structure for him. It was the biggest things, having that daily structure, the non-negotiable times to work on the tasks which are actually going to grow the business, and mapping out his day, his weeks, his months, and then pushing that onto the team. So everyone knows what success looks like in their role, and they have the systems to actually be able to achieve that success.
Absolutely.
a lot of guys working in the day-to-day, it can feel like you're working on the business if you're on the tools, but you're working in the business and you're just focusing and solving the demands of the current business, which is always just going to solve baseline. It's not until you start stepping back and you start focusing on, if you've got $50,000 projects, you start stepping back and going, hey, we want $100,000 projects. Now you start working on your sales and marketing for a couple hours a week, you start bringing in $100,000 projects, and now all of the scheduling and the time that you put into those $50,000 projects is halved for the same amount of output that you're getting. And it's about starting to work smarter rather than harder. And I think a lot of guys are so used to working harder to get results and not working smarter. And it's a big mindset shift that they can change. And then benefit of that is you can take all that hard work that you're used to giving and putting it into the smarter outcomes to supercharge the growth of the business and the success you're looking to get.
Many builders come to us, to the professional builder, overwhelmed, burnt out, feel like they've been running on the builder's hamster wheel 24/7. What's the mindset shift that happens, for people to make a change?
I think for a lot of guys, it's the line in the sand. It could be an argument with their spouse. It could be a certain number the bank account's hitting, or it could be the overdraft hitting its limit. It's some factor in life, which is a result of the business that's just gone too far. It could be a health scare in a lot of cases. I was talking with a guy the other day who recently had a stroke from the stress of the business, and he wanted to make a change, got on the session, now he's on board, and hopefully in the next 13 months, if he puts in the work, he's going to completely turn his life around.
Awesome.
But I think it's that line in the sand and guys realizing that this isn't the way it's supposed to be, and if you keep going this way, well, you're on track to an early grave in some cases.
Yeah, or the AC/DC song springs to mind. I'm on the highway to hell. Yeah, don't leave it till it's too late. Like, if things aren't going the way that you want, or you're not getting, where you want as quickly as you want, then typically that's because of two causes. Number one, a knowledge gap. So you either don't know what you should be doing for your stage of business that you're at. You got 100 things that you could be doing or should be doing, and you're shooting all over yourself. See what I did there?
Yeah, it does.
Or two, you've got an action gap. So it's either a knowledge gap or an action gap. You know what to do, but you're just not getting to it. You're not putting it in place. And so that might be fear, stepping outside your comfort zone. It might be being unsure what you should start on first, or it might be not being aware of the 80-20. Like, what are the few levers that if we were to change and improve those over the next 90 days would make a massive difference? So that's one of the biggest things that we do. First thing we do is we look at your P&L. We go through your profit and loss. We compare them with our golden ratios, and we see where are you out of line compared to our members and world-class best practice. Next, we input your ratios. So we then have a look at, if we were to improve your 5 key levers, so number of leads, conversion rate, average dollar sale, margin, then what would the difference be? What would it spit out the bottom in terms of more profit and more time? And I think once building company owners get clear on their numbers and they see, shit, by making these changes, if I actually implement these 3 strategies to improve my sales process, so I put in place some scripts, I put in place the welcome pack or the info pack, I get my guarantee and I do some video testimonials, my conversion rate could go from 20% to 33 or from 33 to 50. And then you can track that through our planning for profit tool and you can see, shit, I'll go from making 240K profit to making 400K profit. So I think that's one of the light bulbs starts to go off when we dive in and we help you understand not just what are the outcomes, the financials, because they're lagging indicators. We want to look at what are the leading indicators, your KPIs, key performance indicators, and KPAs. So that's number of leads, conversion rate, average dollar sale, and gross margin. What are those leading indicators, and do you know how to change them? And the good thing is we know what the exact strategies are to improve each of those. And then it's just us agreeing a plan, what's going to make the most difference, which ones do you feel comfortable with, and then working with a coach, talking to the other members who've done it, and then implementing the plug-and-play systems to actually get the result, because it's action that gets you the result.
What you just touched on there, Marti, I think is something that's really powerful. It may seem like the business isn't going well, but you simply could be 3, 4, even 5 tweaks away from completely transforming the business. And margin is king. It's one of the biggest factors, but it's all about the law of averages and the tiny gains over a longer amount of time. If you increase your conversion rate from 10 to 20%, it doesn't seem like much, but it's doubled from where it is. Then you do that again and again and again. And for every aspect of the business, it's about getting 1% better every single day. And then by the end of the year, you're 365% better and you've got a completely different business.
Yeah, it's like there are no silver bullets. There's lots of lead bullets. And how do you eat an elephant? Well, it's one spoonful at a time. So most of our members are wanting to go from chaos to control. They're wanting to go from cash flow challenges to confidence in their cash flow. And I think that's what we see our members, once they start putting in the work, getting some quick wins, they start to see improvements in clarity, so they know what areas to focus on. Confidence, because clarity leads to confidence in being able to take action. Taking the right action leads you to start getting wins. That builds your confidence, strength muscle to start taking more action. So it's a bit of a flywheel. And then lastly, you can build a business rather than just a busy job with overheads.
And confidence doesn't come from, and I'm not sure many builders do this, but shouting affirmations in the mirror every single day. It comes from having that undeniable stack of proof that you are who you say you are. And the only way to start doing that is by actually starting to make a change and putting the systems in place and seeing them win.
100%. So after all the conversations and P&Ls that you've seen, what's the one piece of advice that you would give to every building company owner out there?
You're only a few steps away from having the business that you want, having the lifestyle that you want, and all you need to do is reach out or find someone who's gone where you want to go and start learning off them and making those changes.
100%. Like the fastest way to improve anything is to find a mentor, find someone who's done what you want and follow that. So if you can bake a cake, give your best crack or get Granny's recipe, or you can get Gordon Ramsay or Jamie Oliver's recipe. It's going to give you all the ingredients, all the tools that you need, prescribe what actions to take in what order. And if you follow that process, then you should get a very similar outcome.
Or the other hand of that, you could try and make your own recipe, figure it out for yourself, and then maybe you have a great recipe, or maybe it goes absolutely nowhere and you've just wasted the last 3 years trying to bake the best batch of cookies.
100%. So trial and error, or as we refer to it as trial and terror. So for builders who are listening who might be on the fence about getting a mentor, joining a program, or joining the professional builder, what would you say to them?
I say, what do you have to lose? Learn what's possible. We work with the top 5% of building companies in the industry, see what's working, what's not, and the least you're going to get out of it is seeing how you compare to the top 5%, and you're going to get a game plan built out for you to show you the systems you need to put in place moving forward. And at the end of it, if we decide that you're a good fit for us and we look like a good fit for you, awesome, you can come on board. It's no obligation at the same time. You can say, hey, don't think this is for me. In saying that, though, we're not here to take on weirdos. We only want to take people on who are going to win. So if you jump on a call, don't expect to come through and get a free game plan built out for you. We want people that are motivated and actually wanting to make a change.
Yeah, 100%. And I'd add to that, the 3 C's that help any building company owner are a community. If you want to be around being in the right environment is everything. If you want to be around a community of other building company owners who are learning every day, using best practice, using the shortcuts to get to where they could have in 5 years on their own in the next 12 months with the right systems, then have a chat. If you want to have plug-and-play content that's working right now across how to structure a buy-in, how to set your business up for sale, how to get your variations signed off, how to train your apprentices, how to get out of the day-to-day, then have a chat. Or if you think that you'd go better with some support, we have coaching sessions every week. We do a one-on-one coaching session with you every month. We look at your numbers together with you so you can make accurate decisions. Then book a call. And during that call, we'll figure out if we can help you. If we can't help you, we'll point you in the right direction. If we can help, then we'll book a game plan. And in that, we'll go through your numbers. We'll have a look at your numbers, put them into the profit planner, see what's possible. Then we'll map out what are the specific strategies for your business, take you from where you currently are to where you want to get to. And lastly, we'll figure out how much time you can buy back and how much extra money you can make by putting these systems into place. But it's not for everyone. We only work with building company owners over 500K. We don't work with startups. We don't work with weirdos. And if you're lazy, got excuses, or you're not focused on being the best that you can be, then
Go to Live Life Build.
Yeah, keep doing what you're doing. But for those people who are ready to change, you do want to make 2025 your best year in business, then book a call, no obligation, and we'd love to see what's possible for your business and help take you to the next level.
Yeah, 100%. Keen to see some more faces on some sessions.
Absolutely. All right, my man, it's been a great year. Here's to smashing it next year.
Yeah, big 2025.
100%. Cheers, brother. Bye.
Yeah.